Hello. I decided to do an experiment. As you know, if you've watched my videos, when I make videos, I usually am focused on indigenous plants, you know, that you can eat, and these sorts of things. I'm not really focused on survivalism because I don't think in terms of survival. I think in terms of living comfortably free. So what would happen, of course, if there were a zombie attack, a zombie apocalypse? What would happen if the zombies running around and China and Russia and North Korea get together and decide to invade us on our soil? What if there are a whole bunch of really scary terrorists running around and the cattle in the cities were stampeding in the streets? I mean, the human cattle. And the sheep didn't know what to do, and it's all chaos, right? Survivalists like to think about situations like that and figure out what they would do to survive the zombie apocalypse. So, I decided it would be fun to load myself down with zombie apocalypse gear and imagine myself in a situation where I say, screw it all, I'm getting out of here. And so there's chaos in the streets, and there's police state, you know, I don't want to say anarchy because I think of anarchy as something a little more peaceful. I mean chaos. I mean pure hell on earth. And you're trying to get away and stay away and just lay low and not participate in the violence and all the nuttiness. Well, if all hell were to break loose, the last place you want to be is where there's a lot of people, population center. So in my theoretical just for fun zombie apocalypse scenario, I'm getting out of town, I'm hiking, I'm going to a place where I think I can be relatively safe from the chaos, and I wanted to see how that would turn out. Well, the first attempt, which you're going to see in this video, I surprisingly was loaded down with too much gear. So the next attempt, I'm going to be a little lighter on my feet, but go ahead and see what happened. Daniel Lionheart here, and I'm on an overnight hike, early February, and I'm loaded down with all kinds of gear, whatever I would want if the stuff hit the fan, and I wanted to walk away from it all. I've got all weather, I've got equipment for really bad, you know, rain, I've got multiple layers for, you know, cold weather. I've got everything I would ever want if I never wanted to go back to civilization. I've got my blaze orange patches on because there are people out here hunting and target shooting, and I'm not really trying to be invisible, but I'm wearing really good tactical gear that's made for this kind of stuff. So, sun's going down. I'm going to get as much hiking in as I can before dark. I modified this small backpack and put a pouch on this side for extra water, a pouch on this side for my lunch, which basically I can fit 4 oranges in that, which is good because that keeps me sustained if I don't find a bunch of food out here. And that's just a matter of spending time out here. It's not like there's nothing growing out here.
What is this fascinating mystery that wraps around and captures me? She loves all life and drinks it. Breathes the air and dreams so free. That taunt me wants to be with the one I loved. I crossed 3,000 miles of sea. Now she's of someone else. May she then rest easy. What's 1,000 miles to me? 1,000 times 1 mile. May one foot follow the other 1,000 times just to see her smile.
That right there is my objective. That's it's a mesa land, tableland elevation, and that's where I wanted to get to. I'm hiking near a creek bed. This creek bed is only here, well, there's only water in it because of the recent rains. So unfortunately I don't see any life. I would have loved to have found crawdads, because what I did was this pack I'm going to show you is, here it is. I kind of modified it by adding these 2 side pouches, which are for water, right? You put so I have extra water in this. This is my I'm leaving and I'm never coming back to civilization pack. So in here, well, on the other side, instead of extra water, I've got lunch, but there was only room in there for 4 oranges. So the mistake I made was last night on my way here, I didn't eat dinner because I didn't really think about it and I was in a hurry to get here before dark. So I did a starlight hike, you know, probably, I don't know how late, midnight maybe. And on the way, I ate 2 of them. And then before I went to sleep, I ate another one because I was still kind of hungry, which leaves me with only 1 left. So I'm willing to shoot whatever wants to be my food because I've got just this 1 orange left. And at this time of the year, early February, there's none of the really good food out here I like to eat, like the new growth on the cactuses and stuff like that. I'm hoping I'll find something that I recognize as something I want to eat. But in the meantime, I'm going to eat this 1 last orange. I do see a little puny prickly pear apple, so I'm going to get that too. If it doesn't look like it's going to be very tasty, but it's kind of out of season. Well, really out of season. But I'm going to make do, and I'm going to eat whatever I come across. So yeah, this looks pretty pitiful, but I'm going to try it and see what it yeah, it's actually green, but they're edible green, so. Actually, without the skin, it's good. Just going to peel the skin off and I'm happy. I have an inspiration. There are more of these green unripe cactus fruits than I expected to see. And so I'm going to pick as many of them as I can find while I'm here, and I'm sure I'll find some on the way too, and fill up that empty pouch that I got the oranges out of. I'm going to scrape them all, get the tiny hairs off them first. Those are little quills. Fill up that pouch, and then later, when it's time to eat again, maybe I can boil it or fry it or cook it just to make it a little. I don't want to overkill on raw cactus, because, you know, if you do too much raw prickly pear or whatever, it can kind of make you, you know, see funny. Now I'm getting more ideas. So this jojoba bean was just laying on the ground. It fell off, you know, because these are past harvest time, but you know, I'll find some on the ground every now and then, I know that. And there are also some other things that are, you know, that I'm finding that I know I can eat. So like these leaves right here. I'm going to pick a bunch of that stuff, carry it with me, and make kind of like a stew. This is a very tender, edible grass, or, you know, it's kind of a grass plant. At this stage, when it's just growing out of the ground, it's really good, really tender. It's going to go into my stew. My goodness, I've almost got dinner, or lunch, or whatever. Yep, but I gotta keep going. I've got a long ways to go. Just like with the prickly pear or cactus apple, you gotta get all those fine little hairs off of here. And inside, the fruit is edible. One hazard about this is that those little hairs are so much harder to get off. They're just everywhere, and you think they're off, and next thing you know, you're eating them and they're in your mouth. But if you see jumping cactus and you see that, that's food. So I scraped it off with the knife, and then I'm gonna try to get as much of this junk, because these little hairs on this one are literally, they're like microscopic. You can't even see them. You just start scraping them with the knife and you see stuff just going everywhere. It's like, I would rather get these in my hand because they'll come out than in my mouth, you know, and on my tongue, like I did with the last one. And the skin isn't so great, but this, the inside, is really tasty. Despite my best effort to get all those little hairs off, I still got them all over my mouth and tongue. Oh well, it was food and I was hungry. So a better way to do that, so you don't get the little hairs all over your mouth, is to roast it. You could probably even put it on a stick just like a marshmallow. Put it right over the fire and let the fire burn those little hairs. These little pincushion cactus berries are a lot easier to deal with. The pincushions want to snag you, or they're little hooked barbs. But I'm going to throw these in the pouch for my dinner later. I fell and kind of messed up my arm, so I'm taking these brittle bush leaves, trying to get the end of the stem where it's still kind of goopy there, and I'm mashing it up and rubbing it over the open sore. I could wrap it in there and it would probably be more effective. If I pounded it better, it would be more effective.
Now 999 more, and I have come to beauty's store. Good thing I have a car. 1,000 miles is not so far. What makes a fool like me carry on through the cold night and into dawn? Hope that's all and nothing more. While there is life, hope is well worth living for.
Little jojoba, a couple of those in there. Lots of green prickly pear. Some almost ripe prickly pear. A couple fishhook cactus. And then some of the other greens. And I'm going to boil it up. Oh, and one lizard that drowned in the creek. I'm going to boil it up and see what happens.
So that mystery I spoke of, who loves to laugh, knows how to love, who finds the beauty in all things, which lifts her high on gentle wings.
Okay, well, sun's getting low, so it looks like I'm going to have another midnight hike back. I wanted to point something out, though. You know, I'm brewing up a Sasquatch stew. No, it's not really Sasquatch if you boil it. But, yeah. You know, I came out here thinking, you know, if I see something that looks like food and it makes itself easy, I'll shoot it, I'll have meat, right? But in reality, absolutely nothing on this whole hike, nothing that I could shoot showed itself. There's little tiny birds that are too small to eat, much less shoot. Those are the only living animals that showed up. So that's why my focus is always on vegetarian or vegan foods when I'm out here. I'm always focusing on what plants can I eat, because plants don't hide from me and they don't run away. So it's impossible to actually go hungry unless you're a really super picky eater and you can't eat anything green. Well, add to the fact that it's green, this stuff in the desert here tastes kind of weird compared to what you're used to from the grocery store, because over thousands of years, people cultivating their crops have learned what foods they really like, what foods are really sweet and, you know, really taste great. And so those are the foods they cultivated. The foods that aren't cultivated are not necessarily the best tasting foods, but they're foods. So get used to the fact that food isn't about just tasting good. It's about health and nutrition and the freedom to eat what's available where you are. It's a good idea to learn that freedom so that you don't go, oh, there's nothing, I'm just going to starve, I can't wait to get back to town so I can have McDonald's. Teach yourself to have the freedom to eat what's there. And you can go anywhere without packing a bunch of stuff. I overpacked. I packed too much stuff. You know, I'm not used to having a backpack. I'm used to just a belt pack. And so for me, having even a really thin, you know, fleece, double, you know, 2 fleece sleeping bags, and this, you know, and some extra gear, ended up being too heavy. I don't like the weight, you know. So I would like to take stuff out of my pack, be lighter next time, and you can see that there's food everywhere, which in the Free Thinking series, that's what that was all about, Sasquatch survival, where you can eat without even having to have cooking utensils or any technology or anything. There's just plant foods everywhere that don't run away from you and hide. All right, now the test. Is this amazing? It smells good. Oh yeah. I taste something very much like spinach. This is amazing. If I'd had more time, I would have let it boil longer, because these grasses are kind of, they don't break down as well as I'd like in my teeth. But this stuff tastes and smells like something you would buy from a store. It's really good. Okay. There's the jojoba bean. Not bad, boiled up. I like that. Oh no, a lizard leg. It's good. A little crunchy. It actually adds to my stew.
I know not where the future goes when it flees and no one knows. We simply follow where it leads. Trust God to supply our needs. While this woman's beauty takes my breath, and this is true, to hope and love the journey is all that's left for me to do. The beauty shining out and through, from deep within, it flows throughout and settles all around her skin, and leaves me with such little doubt. Even if she finds herself in someone else's arms some night, I found a wondrous mystery in a lofty